Wonderful. I'll start my timer here. And if you have any questions or anything, just chime in as we go along. This particular kriya, and kriya just is a word that means we're moving from one energetic state to another, is all about tapping into the pituitary gland, the master gland of our body, which when we're going through a lot of transitions in our life, it's really helpful to work with the pituitary gland because it balances our blood chemistry, and helps it really regulates all of our hormones in our body. So it's a really important thing to just bring it into alignment with the heart and work with that energy. So that's what we'll be doing today.
Great.
So just come sitting nice and tall, closing the eyes and just taking a moment. Taking some nice deep breaths. Getting really clear on what's present for you right now. In the way of what are your thoughts? How have they been this morning? Any underlying emotional currents? Just observe what you're noticing. Do you have any tension in the body, congestion in the mind, or stagnation in the energetic field? And then mentally in your head, envisioning if you could embody a different energetic state. By the end of our session today, what would that be? Or how do you want to carry yourself through this day? And how are you showing up for the meeting you have later? What energy are you embodying for that? The mediation event? How are you interacting? Go ahead and set that energetic mold now. Wonderful. And bringing the hands together at heart center, sitting up nice and tall. We'll tune in. We'll tune in with a mantra. It's called the Adi mantra. And it's Om Namo Gurudev Namo. It sounds like a mouthful, but it really does flow quite nicely. And it translates into, I bow to that divine creative consciousness within all beings. I bow to the wisdom within myself. And we'll chant it 3 times. You can listen, you can hum along, you can chant it once you feel comfortable with it. And it really is a nice way to connect the heart and the throat. Nice.
Can you say it one more time?
Absolutely. It's Om, O-N-G, Gurudev Namo. oh, sorry, Om Namo Gurudev Namo.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And you can listen the first time and maybe chime in for the last 2 times and then see how it goes. Nice deep inhale. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. A nice deep inhale. Pausing the breath at the top. Straightening the spine as much as you can and bringing your awareness right to the middle of your brain. And then exhaling, relax. Of course, exhaling whenever you need to exhale. This is truly your practice. And we'll take that one more time. Nice deep inhale. Pausing the breath at the top and then squeezing and lifting the pelvic floor in and up at the same time while you're bringing your inner awareness to the middle of your brain. And exhale, relax completely. And bringing the hands down to your knees, just noticing any subtle shifts. And then we'll go ahead and begin some of the movement here. So first we'll come into what's known as a down dog, or triangle pose, just to bring some of the blood flow to the brain right away, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland. And taking some nice deep breaths. Just being here with your breath, letting your breath be that golden thread of presence throughout your practice today. It's always a nice day when we come into a down dog. It helps us to shift our perspective, shift our energy a little bit. Really good one to practice if you're ever feeling just the overwhelming sense of anxiety. And now we're going to walk our hands back a little closer to our feet. Now the hands are about the middle of the mat, if you have a mat. Taking some nice deep breaths. And then finally walking your hands all the way back to your feet. So now you're in a forward fold, keeping a little softness in your knees, a little bend in your knees here. We're not trying to jam anything or, force anything here. We're just warming up the body. Getting into the back side of the leg. And still bringing that blood flow to the brain. Letting the spine completely release. And letting the head just hang. Good. One more deep breath here. And exhaling. And then we're going to come back to seated, but we're going to sit up onto the knees. Or sit on the heels, rather. Now, if this is uncomfortable, just go back to any comfortable seated posture. Hands will just be resting on the thighs. And this one, we're going to inhale. Take a nice big inhale, pause the breath, and then pump the navel in 11 times. And then we're going to exhale all the breath out. And then with the breath held out, pump the navel 11 times. So this is a really powerful, it's kind of a kriya within the kriya called Agnisara kriya, really powerful to help us loosen any congestion, stagnation that we may be holding on to in the energy body.
Can you
So
give
here
some
we,
description on how to pump the navel while holding the breath?
yeah. So inhale, pause the breath, and then pump the navel. Do you see how mine is pumping?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And 11 times, we're trying to do 11 times on the inhale hold and on the exhale hold. If 11 feels like too much right off the gate, go to 5 or 6. But here we go, and I'll lead us through. Inhaling, holding the breath in, and then pumping the belly 11 times. And exhale, holding the breath out, pumping the belly 11 times. Inhaling, pause and pump. Exhaling, pause and pump. And then keep going at your pace and on your breath. We're stimulating this life force energy here in the navel center. Really helps to just clear any stagnation, any unprocessed emotions. It's very powerful. Helps digestion, helps assimilation. All the new energy coming into our life helps us assimilate it. And then try practicing with your eyes closed if they're not already, rolled up and in towards the third eye point, middle of the brain, and keeping the rest of the body completely relaxed as you go through this. We'll be here for about 1 more minute. However, you would want to just do long, deep breaths if your first 3 days on your menstrual cycle or pregnant. I should have said that before. It doesn't hurt anything, it just increases circulation. So, just to let you know. And it may feel kind of weird to pump your navel like this. It may feel like it gets frozen or stuck, but just start and stop and start again. And last few times. Letting this be your last round. And then after you complete it, just going back to some normal breathing, noticing any heat, any new energy in the area of the navel.
I feel like I just did 100 sit-ups.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. And this next pose we're going to go into, we work with a breath called Breath of Fire. If you've never done Breath of Fire before, then the easiest way to learn it actually is to stick out the tongue and pant like a dog. Then you're pumping your navel in on
My
the
dog just looked
exhale.
up.
Huh?
My dog, huh?
Yeah, so you're pumping the navel in on the exhale. And then what this really helps with the tongue sticking out is that it gets the movement of the navel going properly. And then once you feel comfortable how the navel is moving, the exhale is when the navel pumps in. Then you'll close the mouth and just breathe through the nose. And it's kind of a rapid breath. It's equal inhale, equal exhale. Sounds like this. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna go onto our back, use this breath. So we're gonna come lying onto our back, and then hands interlace behind the head. So you're supporting your head just up off the floor, and then bringing your left leg up off the floor about 12 inches. And then from here, we're gonna use that breath of fire.
How much with the tongue out and then how much with just the nose?
So once you feel comfortable with the movement of the navel, then you'll close the mouth and just do it through the nose.
Okay.
Yep.
It's hard to do on the back.
Yeah, it's different, a little different. Good, keep going with the breath, but now you're gonna lower the left leg down and bring the right leg up about 12 inches from the floor. Keep going with the breath of fire.
I feel like I can't do it too many times consistently. Is that normal? Like I've got to pause.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, if you have to pause and then start again, that's just fine.
My dog is so confused.
And then lowering the right leg down, bringing the left leg back up. Keep going with the breath. Then closing the eyes so you're not leaking out any energy and you're really in your internal awareness. Bringing the light of your awareness inward. And then last switch, lowering the left leg down, bringing the right leg back up, continuing with the breath. And nice deep inhale. Pausing the breath at the top. And exhale, lowering absolutely everything down to the ground, bringing the palms to face up, hands just by your side. And taking a few deep breaths here before we move on. Just noticing the energy in your body in the navel center. This is the center of absolute courage, confidence, owning our ability to see things through. Wonderful. Bending your knees into your chest and grabbing onto the back side of your knees. We're going to take a nice inhale and roll ourselves up and coming back into a comfortable seat. We're going to bring the hands into prayer pose here. And then we're going to work with the breath, bringing a little more coherence into the heart, into the brain. So we'll inhale for a count of 5. Pause the breath for 10 seconds. And then exhale for 5 seconds. And then beginning again, inhaling for 5. Hold for 10. Exhale 5. Closing the eyes, bringing the awareness to the heart. And keep going at your count. Inhaling 5. Pausing for 10. Exhaling 5. Anchoring your awareness in your heart here. If your mind wanders, just gently bring you back to the heart. In that last pose, we really built the energy in the navel center. Now we're bringing that energy up into the heart. Finish one more complete round here. Wonderful. Once you're complete, we're going to go back to sitting onto our heels in what's called rock pose. And you can always place a cushion underneath for more support if it ever feels uncomfortable to sit like this. We're going to bring the hands onto the thighs. Chin will stay parallel to the floor. We're going to inhale, arch the spine forward. Exhale, arch it back. Inhale, spine forward. Exhale, back. Yeah. Just doing some nice spinal flexes to get that movement of the spine, helping to restore our nervous system here. And a flexible spine is a flexible mind, as the yogis say.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Another chance to get into the breath. And nice deep inhale to center. Pausing the breath at the top, squeezing the pelvic floor in and up, straightening the spine. Exhale, relax. Wonderful. Bring the legs out now from underneath us. I'll turn to the side so you can see better here. You're going to grab onto your big toes if you have that accessibility today, or just grab onto your shins. And if your hamstrings are tight, keeping a bend in your knees is helpful so we're not jamming anything. I happen to be hypermobile, so don't compare anything.
I'm pretty flexible too. So
okay, great. So you're grabbing onto your big toes here. We're gonna inhale up and then exhale, lowering down. Inhaling up and exhale, lowering down. It's a small move, but a concise move. And then just keep going just like that, at a slow, steady pace. So Kundalini Yoga is really helpful for just integrating any of the shifting energy we have going on in our world. It's a very rejuvenating practice. We're opening these pathways of consciousness within the body, all these neural pathways we have throughout the body. And when we're grabbing onto the big toes like this, we're stimulating meridian points for our pituitary gland. So we're putting a little pressure on these big toes. Good, nice deep inhale up the center, straightening the spine. And exhale, relax. Taking a nice deep breath here before we move on. Wonderful. We're going to bend the knees and bring ourselves back into that down dog. Bringing the blood flow to the brain one more time. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then on your next exhale, stepping that right foot forward between your hands, left heel, coming almost to a parallel, kind of like at a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to bring ourselves on up to a warrior one, but then we're going to lower the arms out in front of us and bend the fingers back. So we have your fingers bent back, and then the thumbs are going to point up, and then the left arm is going to go back like we're pulling an arrow back, bending into that right leg as much as you feel comfortable today, as long as the knee is staying over the ankle. And we're going to be here long, deep breaths, and you're gazing over that right thumb. Finding that sense of steadiness within here. Breathing nice and deep. And there's a certain strength that this pose conjures up. The back foot is anchoring into the ground, connecting to that sense of steadiness. The right leg lunging forward without fear, total confidence. Anchored in our heart, the heart is open. Anchored in our absolute inner strength. Few more seconds here. Good, nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, windmilling your arms back down. We'll come back to a down dog. Taking a nice deep inhale. And then on your exhale, stepping that left foot forward between your hands, dropping the right heel back, coming on up to that warrior one, and then dropping the hands, the arms right out in front of you. Again, bending the fingers in, thumbs up. And then pulling with your right arm back, pulling the arrow back, gazing over the left thumb. Holding steady, long, deep breath. Finding your steadiness in any triggering situation. Like you're holding this arrow here that you could just pierce through any remaining layers of confusion, scattered energy. Bringing so much clarity to your being. Good, nice deep inhale. And exhale, we're kneeling the arms again, coming back into the down dog, last down dog here. Nice deep breath. Good, we'll come back to a comfortable seat. And we'll finish with this one last pose. So hands will be in Gya Mudra, the first finger and thumb touch, and then bringing them down to rest on your knees, stimulating points in the brain associated with wisdom. And then we'll close the eyes, focus right at the heart and the brain at the same time. And then from here, we'll do that breath of fire again with just breathing in and out through the nose, pumping the navel in on the exhale. Just a nice light breath of fire, nothing too intense. And nice deep inhale. Pausing the breath at the top. And exhaling and relax. And just dropping into that deep knowing within you. Expanding into your next level of what's possible for you. Opening to that. Wonderful. Come to lie on our back for a nice Shavasana to let the whole energy just settle in. All of the shifts that we just cultivated here. So come to lie on the back, palms face up. Nice deep breath, just letting the whole body sink into the floor. Feeling supported by the earth below. And then taking the deepest inhale to wake up your heart. Fullest exhale. Bringing some movement to your fingers and your toes. And bringing the palms above your head, rubbing the palms together, above your chest rather. Rubbing the palms together. And bending the knees, rubbing the soles of the feet together. Stimulating all the nerve endings here. And then as you're ready, rolling yourself back up. Coming back into a seated posture, closing the eyes, keeping the awareness at the heart. So bring the hands to the heart center again, in prayer position. And then we'll end the session by chanting one long stop. short nam, so it's Sat Nam. Sat meaning truth, Nam meaning identity. So resting in the fullest expression of your truth today. Nice deep inhale. Sat Nam. And bowing your head to your heart, that wisdom within that will lead you gracefully through the rest of this day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to stop recording and then switch my camera.